All right, my name is Zachary Vincent, and I am a student at Montrose High School. This past summer, I completed a pinhead internship with the organization History Colorado, based in Denver. So it was a lot of fun, and I'll get to that in a second. But I want to spend just a minute discussing what the process was like getting to that point. So as I said, I did it with History Colorado, not the most traditional STEM-related field, history. But I believe that history really is very close to science in so many ways, and you approach it with a methodology, and it's very systematic. And so I came to the Pinhead board with my application, and I made the case that it would be really great for me to get experience and have equal opportunities with so many wonderful STEM kids, but to be able to do it in my own way, even though it is really very connected to what the Pinhead does. And they were so very receptive to that. And they placed me at the organization History Colorado. So in terms of the things that I've learned mostly, I learned to be bold. When I approached with history, I had no idea what it would be like. And I also had no idea what it would be like going into my actual internship as well. So thus I was very pleasantly surprised by how well it was received and how much support I got from the Pinhead Institute and my mentors. So I think that really taking a leap of faith pays off in the end. And then also being patient. I didn't know that my internship was going to happen the way it did until just about a week before it started. And because it was virtual, it wasn't quite as big a deal, but still it was good that I was just patient and hung in there, because the Pinhead Institute didn't disappoint me, and nor did my mentors. So I'm very glad that I learned these two important lessons going into this. So as to the actual internship itself, this is where I was going to go. This is the History Colorado Center in Denver, Colorado. But unfortunately, I ended up spending more time here on Zoom. I performed my internship virtually, but it was really a fun experience, and I learned so very much. So in discussing what my internship was, it was an oral history internship. So I worked with the curatorial staff at History Colorado on an oral history project. Now, oral history is really the collection of someone's story. We try not to use the word interview. It's really just a forum for people to discuss their life. And we find that it's a very valuable way to learn about the past and preserve these moments in time forever. So I was very glad to have this opportunity. And I chose as my main project sugar beets. Now, just a really brief history of sugar beets. They were a really large agricultural commodity on the western slope of Colorado, near Montrose, where I'm from, for a very long time in the 20th century. And they had many impacts on even the global economic market, because they were such a viable alternative to sugarcane elsewhere, which was just really not sustainable. So learning about this sustainable practice of agriculture really interested me, especially when I found out that it just collapsed randomly in the 1970s, and people are still trying to figure out exactly what happened. So my goal was to figure out who I could talk to, who would be able to help me most to figure out the answers to these questions. Unfortunately, over the course of my 9-week internship, I contacted an innumerable number of people, so many wonderfully knowledgeable people about agriculture and history and sugar beets, but unfortunately, because it was so long ago, most of the primary source individuals have since passed on or were unable to speak with me due to the present circumstances. So it was really an unfortunate thing that happened, but I learned so very much, and I did get to practice my archiving skills and my oral history collection skills, and it was a really amazing opportunity for me nonetheless. So then, talking about skills specifically, these are the primary skills that I learned. Really, I focused on learning about communication. That was the biggest thing, reaching out to different people from different backgrounds, and I found that extremely helpful. And so really, I found that this internship was probably the best way I could have spent my unpredictable summer. And I would definitely advise that anyone who's interested in STEM or history even to pursue these kinds of opportunities. And finally, for my thanks. So many people helped me in this amazing process, and I am so well prepared now to go into the field of history, which is what I want to do in college, because of all these wonderful people. So thank you, Pinhead Institute, and thank you, History Colorado.